students. So we are going to begin with this. Our chapter name is Control and Coordination, students. Okay, first I will write here Control and Coordination. What is this control and coordination means? What actually it includes? Control and coordination includes. So every part in the human body will be controlled and coordinated. So how it is controlled, how it is coordinated, that is the point here, students. It is controlled and coordinated through what means two types of systems. One is nervous system, and next one is endocrine system. Nervous system as well as endocrine system, students. It is controlled and coordinated through nervous system as well as endocrine systems. So in this, these are the two systems, students. Nervous system includes a brain like this, ones. It includes a brain like this, and endocrine system includes what means different types of organs. What are the different types of organs that are present? So we see different types of glands like this. Not organs, we call glands. So thyroid gland, thymus gland, gonads, pancreatic gland, liver, all these things. So these are the glands, and that is the nervous system. And how this nervous system will function, students? This nervous system functions through means the basic units of this nervous system is neuron. Basic units of this nervous system is neuron, and within this neuron, electrical impulse will pass. Electrical impulses will pass, students. Electrical impulse means nothing but so electricity like information passage will be there. That is not a completely what we call electrons, protons like that, students. It is made up of potassium and calcium ions, students. It is made up of potassium as well as calcium ions. Chemoreceptors. It is totally in chemical, students. As the classes proceeds, I will discuss much more about that, students. So first remember that in neurons, information will be passed in the form of chemopotentiality, and in endocrine system, information will be passed through hormones. These hormones are the chemical substances, students. These hormones are the chemical substances. Glands will produce these hormones. There are different types of glands in the human body, students. And these are the two types of systems which comes under control and coordinations. And first I will start with this nervous system, students. What actually this nervous system? And what is the basic unit of this nervous system? No doubt that basic unit of nervous system consists of neurons, students. And the study of this nervous system is known as neurology. Make a note of it. Study of this nervous system is known as neurology, students. Study of this nervous system is known as neurology. Okay, now next one is another important point, students, regarding to this is, as I told you that basic unit of nervous system is neurons, students. So what is the use of this nervous system? What if nervous system is not there, what happens to us? And what is the basic and primary function of this nervous system, students? That is what first we need to know is, and we feel outs so we feel surrounding environment with the help of this nervous system only, students. We feel surrounding environment with the help of this nervous system only. So what they with the help of this nervous system means what actually? Okay, na? See, I will write here is major functions of nervous system includes, first one is feeling of surrounding environment, students. feeling of surrounding environmental conditions. Surrounding environment. What we feel in the surrounding environments and surrounding world ones. Kind of feeling of touch means feeling of touch ones. We will touch the trees. We will touch the other humans. We will touch the other animals. Feeling of touch. Okay, na? Next one is cold and hot ones. Feeling of cold and hot ones. It is through nervous system only. Seasonal changes. Seasonal changes is through nervous system only, students. Seasonal changes is through nervous systems only. Okay, now we feel all these seasonal changes through nervous systems only, students. Okay, now if nervous system is not there, we cannot feel all those things. Next one is muscular activities. Muscular activities will be controlled through this nervous system. What is this muscular activities like? Running, speaking. Okay, now involuntary activities. Involuntary activities are controlled through this nervous system like breathing, heartbeat, etc. Students are controlled through this nervous system, students. So these are all the functions of which include under the functions of nervous system only, students. Okay, now without these nervous systems, these kind of activities is highly impossible. As I told you that what is the basic unit of nervous system? Neurons, students. This is what the neuron, and this is the structure of neuron. It will be like this, ones. What actually this basically the neuron consists of? What are the basic components of this neuron? And you know that neuron is the longest cell found in the human body, students. Okay, now already we have written this point in the cell biology first chapter itself. Basic components. Basic components of neuron are what it includes means cell body. It includes cell body. Next one is it includes axon. Next one it includes dendrites. Dendrites. So what is this cell body? And what is this cell body means students? So it consists of like this cell body. This is what, and this cell body similar to like a cell. It consists of different types of cell organelles. It consists of different types of cell organelles, students. Okay, now like a normal cell, different cell organelles. This is what cell body, students. So this is a nucleus, and this is a cytoplasm surrounding it, and many organs are cell organelles are present here, students. That is what cell body means actually. And what this cell body generally consists of? What this cell body consists of, students? What are the different things that are present in this cell body? And what is the difference between normal cell and nerve cell? This is very important thing. How this nerve cell differs from the normal cell, students. So first one is normal cell. Normal cell will have ribosomes, students. Normal cell will have ribosomes. Nerve cell, instead of ribosomes, nissel granules will be present. Nissel granules are present, students. Instead of ribosomes, nissel granules are present. Okay, now what is this nissel granules will do in this nerve cell means? It helps in protein synthesis. Nissel granules function similar to like ribosomes, helps in protein synthesis, students. helps in protein synthesis. Okay, na? That is one thing. And another one is, friends, nerve cell does not have centrosomes. Centrosomes are completely absent in nerve cells, friends. Why centrosomes are completely absent? The centrosomes helps in cell division normally in the cell. But in nerve cell division capacity is totally absent, friends. And centrosomes are absent here. Okay, na? That is one important point what you have to make a note of it regarding to cell body, friends. And what is an axon means? Have you seen this, friends, from here to here? So cylindrical tube-like structure. The cylindrical tube-like structure, what it is present here is known as axon. We call it as here also. You can see this. See this how the electricity is passing. So this cylindrical tube-like structure, what is there, that we call it as an axon, students. And what is the use of this axon? What is the use of this axon, students? Make a note like this. Axon. It helps in axon helps in what means transmission of nerve impulse from one area to the other area. It helps in transmission of nerve impulse, nerve impulse from one end of the nerve to the other end, or from one place to the another place, friends. So if you take, say for example, if you take a normal electrical wire, students, inside the normal electrical wire there will be a copper wire. So axon is equal to the copper wire, students. So copper wire helps in the transmission of electricity, na? Similar to like this, axon also helps in the transmission of electricity, students. That is one thing. And this surrounding this axon, have you seen this box like items present surrounding this axon, students? Are you able to observe? And what is this box like things that are present in the axon means? This we call it as, what we call these sheets as means myelin sheet. This we call it as an myelin sheet, students. What is the use of this myelin sheet? Is there any use regarding to this myelin sheet, students? Yes. This myelin sheet is made up of fatty layer. It is a fatty layer. It is a fatty layer, students. Fatty layer produced from a specialized cells. Produced from the specialized cells. Produced from specialized cells known as squamous cells. Produced from specialized cells known as squamous cells, students. Okay, now, and this myelin sheet will act like an insulator. This myelin sheet will act like an insulator, students. So as I told you that normal electrical wire. So in the normal electrical wire, inside the copper wire will be present, that is equal to axon, students. And outside the plastic sheet will be there, na? That is equal to the myelin sheet. That is equal to the myelin sheet, students. Okay, the next one is, have you seen these gaps? These gaps. What are these gaps? What exactly these gaps are, students? This we call it as a nodes of Ranvier. Nodes of Ranvier we call it as. Nodes of Ranvier, students. What is the use of these nodes of Ranvier? How it helps, friends? It helps in faster transmission of signals. Nodes of Ranvier helps in faster transmission of signals, friends. Signal will jump from here to here. So like that, faster transmission of signal takes place. Faster transmission of signal takes place, students. Signal takes place. This is one thing, students. Okay, now nodes of Ranveer we call it as. And another one is dendrites and teledendrites, students. So have you seen these root-like structures present here? And all these root-like structures present here we call it as a dendrites. And whatever the roots that are present at the last part of the neuron we call it as a teledendrites, students. Dendrites and teledendrites. What is the use of these dendrites and teledendrites means? So dendrites and teledendrites helps in collection of information, and transmission of information, from one neuron to the other neuron, students. From one neuron to the other neuron, students. From one neuron to the another neuron. So electricity transmission takes place with the help of dendrites as well as teledendrites, students. Okay, now. And the next one is, what are the other parts of this neuron? We have to check it out. Okay, students, see this. Between one neuron to other neuron, students, there is a gap. So there is a gap between one neuron to the other neuron, students. See this gap. Are you able to identify this gap? And that gap we call it as, I will write here, students, between one neuron to the another neuron. The gap that is present. The gap that is present is known as synaphase. The gap that is present is known as synaphase, students. Okay, now into this synaphase, neurotransmitters into this gap, chemical substances will be secreted. Chemical substances will be secreted. These chemicals are known as neurotransmitters. These chemicals are known as neurotransmitters. We call it as neurotransmitters. What exactly the neurotransmitters includes? What are the different types of neurotransmitters are? Acetylcholine is one of the neurotransmitter. Serotonin is one of the neurotransmitter. Dopamine is one of the neurotransmitter. Next one is epinephrine, norepinephrine. Epinephrine, norepinephrine. Next one is GABA. GABA means gamma amino butyric acid. Gamma amino butyric acid, students. So these are all the neurotransmitters that are there and which are produced into this Synaphase gap students. So you can expect odd man out question from these students. So as I told you that the gap between one neuron to other neuron, we call it as an Synaphase. You know, and here basically these neurons are categorized into three types students. What are the three types of neurons means? One is sensory neurons, motor neuron, mixed neurons. Okay now. So make a note like this students. I will write here neurons based on function, based on function, based on the function, they are categorized into three types. They are categorized into three types students. What are those three types means? What are those three types means students? One is sensory neurons, motor neurons, next one is mixed neurons. Mixed neurons. In the sensory neurons students, sensory neurons, so information is collected from all the sense organs students. Okay, now like a skin, tongue. Okay, now next one is nose, eyes, like this. From all the sense organs, information will be collected, and information from the sense organs will be sent to the spinal cord. Spinal cord. Spinal cord. From the spinal cord, information will be sent to the brain students. Okay, now like this information will be passed students. Like this information will be passed. Hence, these type of neurons we call it as sensory neurons students. Motor neurons means information from brain will be sent to spinal cord, from spinal cord to muscle streams, and this we call it as a motor neurons. Okay, now next one is mixed neurons means which performs both sensory and motor functions, perform both sensory as well as motor functions students. That we call it as a mixed neurons students. That we call it as a mixed neurons. So this is what three types of neurons are there. And see this in the neuron students, how the electrical impulse will be transferred means from the cell body, electrical impulse will be passed here like this. This is what direction of the nerve impulse. This is what direction of nerve impulse students. You know. So and here what is the another important point students regarding this? Nerve consists of bundles of nerve fibers students. Nerve consists of bundles of nerve fibers. Can I make a note of this? So what is the basic unit of nervous system means neuron. What is the basic unit of nerve means nerve fibers. Nerve fibers means nothing but axons. You can make a point like this also. Make a note like this. I will write here once. A nerve is formed of bundles of bundle of nerve fibers. Nerve fibers, that is axon, enclosed in the tubular sheet. Enclosed in a tubular sheet. The basic unit of nerve is nerve fibers. Basic unit of nerve is nerve fibers, students. And within this neuron, students, as I told you that nerve impulse will be there. So how much fast this nerve impulse will be transferred? So can we estimate this transmission of nerve impulse? Yes, students. As I told you that in the neuron, students, information will be passed in the form of sodium as well as potassium ions. Information will be passed in the form of sodium as well as potassium ions, students. Like that, nerve impulse will be passed, as I told you that. We'll write the information, students, here. We'll try to write the information here. So make a note of this. Information inside the nerve will be transmitted in the form of sodium and potassium ions. Transmitted in the form of sodium as well as potassium ions. This type of nerve impulse we call it as an chemopotentiality. This type of nerve impulse we call it as a chemopotentiality, students. And speed of nerve impulse in neuron is so how much, students? 100 meters per second. Speed of nerve impulse in neuron is 100 meters per second, students. So that is what regarding to this neuron, complete information regarding to this neuron, students. Remember that, students, longest neuron, or among all the cells, longest cell is nerve cell, students. Okay, now where this longest cell will be present, students? Okay, now where it is seen, students? It is seen in giraffe neck. It is seen in the giraffe neck, students. Are you getting it? What I'm saying is, yes, students. So these are the bits related to this nerve structure, which is the basic unit of nervous system. And this nervous system is further categorized into like this, students. You can make a note of this flowchart. So what is this types of nervous system is? Central nervous system. Next one is peripheral nervous system. Central nervous system consists of brain and spinal cord, students. Brain and spinal cord. This brain consists of cerebrum. Next one is, so it is not a part of this cerebellum, students. So cerebellum is a part of hindbrain, no doubt in that. So cerebellum, medulla oblongata. Make a note like this. Okay, now spinal cord controls reflex actions, conveys impulse. Cerebrum is related to all these functions, friends. Cerebellum is related to this. Cerebellum medulla oblongata is related to this. I don't worry about this. I will take each and every part and I will try to explain each and everything clearly, friends. Next one is somatic nervous system consists of cranial nerves, spinal nerves, friends. Autonomic nervous system consists of two parts: sympathetic nervous systems. Next one is parasympathetic nervous systems. Okay, now what is the sympathetic and parasympathetic? We will see. What is somatic nervous system? What is autonomous nervous system? We'll see. We'll check it. So brain consists of different parts: forebrain, midbrain, hindbrain. Also, I will discuss regarding to this. Just copy the flowchart like this, friends. Then I will give you separate again flowchart for the brain. Don't worry about that. This is the flowchart what is covered in the NCERT books, friends. Okay, na? Like this. So this is what the functions of this nervous system. This is the spinal cord, friends, and this is the brain. So now I will start with first part of the nervous system, that is central nervous system is brain.